Wendell Phillips said, "Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty."
The Junior Leagues of New York State present the story of Sir William Johnson. This is the story of William Johnson, an Irishman who came to America, fought for the English, devoted himself to the welfare of the Indians, and served his fellow men. The story of one man whose faith and belief in fair dealing and honesty made New York State worthy of bearing the name Empire. All this we shall tell you as the story of William Johnson.
Oh, peaceful, isn't it? I always like this time of day before the sun goes down. Everything's so still, so green. Have you ever been to Ireland, George? Me? No. Nothing is as green as Ireland. William, are you really sorry you left Ireland? Sometimes I am, but mostly no. I'd say, George, I'm rather glad. Well, why did you leave? Oh, a number of reasons. One of which was that a man who was a slave to custom is just as much a slave as if he had a master. In Ireland, I was expected to do certain things, be certain things. Here in the colonies, I can make my own way. I choose to be a businessman, a trader. I am a trader. Well, there are lots of traders in the woods, William. To which my answer, dear George, is very, very simple. I shall be the best. One thing I don't like about this time of day are those evil little flying things that seem so intent upon sucking my blood. Let's say we go inside and get away from these mosquitoes. Say, just a minute, isn't that Butler? By Jove, yes, and what a pile of skins.
Gentlemen, I just had the most remarkable piece of luck, best sale I ever made.
So I see you must have at least 25 skins, but tell me, what did you trade for them?
Johnson, you'll never believe this. An ornamental clock.
What?
An ornamental clock. I sold it to some fool Injun for all those furs. The Injun actually thought it was magic. When he heard it strike, he nearly jumped out of his moccasins. Best sale I ever made. Wait till I tell my wife.
You see what I mean, George? I have little to fear from the likes of such petty thieves. If they will cheat, let them cheat. But as I stand before you, George, I swear that I, William Johnson, shall deal fairly with all men, be they Indian, be they white, and that no man shall pass my door without being treated with honor and honesty. How much do you want for that?
Good furs, worth 4 bags grain, full cloth, 2 knife.
No, you ask too much. No knife.
White man not fair. White man I get too much.
If you think such thoughts, you do not know your brother. I trade fair. 4 bags of grain, 1 bolt of cloth.
Good. I trade.
Good. Red brother is an honest man. I give him this knife.
White brother trade fair. I give him another skin. With such fair treatment, Johnson built a great trade with the Indians. As he once vowed, no man was unwelcomed at his store. No man was cheated, no man made to feel inferior. Thus Johnson prospered. His name spread among the peoples of the Indian nations. His kindness, his willingness to help, brought many furs to his trading post. As Johnson learned from the Indian, so did the Indian learn from Johnson. They learned he could be trusted, relied upon, and looked up to. They learned he was a man of wisdom, a great tradesman, and a great leader. And Johnson, in turn, learned the language of the red man and his customs, and he became their brother and was given the Indian name of Warahiagi, meaning he who does much business.
I, Hendrik
Chief of the Mohawks, greet you, Brother Warahiagi. All of the chiefs and warriors of our castle meet you at this great council fire. We have asked our brother who does much business to condole with us the losses of our people and smoke with us the pipe of peace. Many moons ago, my people made me their chief. Now they make you our brother. With this knife, I cut my arm. Will you do likewise, Warahiagi?
It is done.
Now let our blood mingle. I call upon you Mohawk people to witness. For now in the veins of him who came to us in friendship runs the blood of the Mohawks. And in the veins of a Mohawk flows the blood of a white man. Thus I declare us brothers. Our people, our friendly people. We live in peace among ourselves, and we hold that great chain of friendship with the English. If you hold firmly that chain and keep it bright and shining, you too shall be a member of our castle. You speak words of wisdom, your heart is true, and our people shall love you as a brother. We now make you a sachem of our tribe. And to the Indians, Johnson was a brother. Never did he forsake them, never did he fail to do his part in their behalf, nor did they forget him. More and more furs found their way to Mount Johnson, and more the Mohawks relied upon their friend and gave him presents of land. But the peace and joy Johnson knew with his Indian brothers was short-lived, for in 1745 war broke out between the French and the English. The French in the Western world, fighting for their king and reaching for land for a great French empire in America, enlisted the Northern Indians and sought to win the Iroquois, planning to turn them on the English.
His Most Christian Majesty, King Louis of France, is the protector of all this land. He is the father of the Indians. Great gifts of powder, guns, blankets, and knives, and rum will go to the Indians, our brother!
The French are generous and friendly. They do not steal the Indian's land. They make him happy. Now the Indians shall fight with the French against their enemies.
We want men, strong men, brave men, Indian men. But Johnson is aware of the danger and goes to Governor George Clinton with a plan of defense.
Your Excellency, I cannot stress enough the importance of the port of Oswego. With French troops coming down the lakes and rivers, and with hostile Indians scouting through the forests, Oswego, sir, is in a very, very dangerous position.
And if Oswego falls?
If Oswego falls, Your Excellency, the French will soon be in the Mohawk Valley.
Oh? But Johnson, Oswego is so completely unprotected. How do you propose to...
Your commissioners of Indian Affairs are old, Governor Clinton. They have no spunk, they have no plan of defense, and what's more, they have no Indians. If I can send trinkets and baubles and furs to Oswego, why not powder and shot? Give me the right to fortify Oswego, and I will fortify it.
And fortify Oswego he did. Johnson was made a colonel, and French forces were kept back from the deep water port that held the key to the northeastern seaboard. And much of the credit for keeping the Six Nations of the Iroquois loyal to the English went to William Johnson. The governor's council was pleased, but they still had not learned the lesson he'd tried to teach them, that if the Indians were to be loyal to the English must be loyal to the Indians.
Gentlemen, that man Johnson is astounding. 1 week ago, we had to deal with 5 angry Indian nations. Today, They're not only eating out of Johnson's hands, but practically begging to be allowed to lay down their lives in the war against France. Well, that's something I cannot understand.
I'm afraid I must disagree with you there, Colden. You see, I know exactly what it is Johnson has.
Oh, really?
Yes, Colden, really. The secret is very simple, you know. These Indians, these savages, they're like so many children. All you've got to do is promise them something nice. Promise them this, promise them that. Just promise them.
The air was full of promises. Promises as empty as the air. But the Indians were not the children Governor Clinton had thought them to be, and they grew angry at the thought that once more they were being cheated. And so naturally they drifted towards the camp of the enemy, the French.
That is wrong, what we do, brother.
Why is it wrong?
The English, they are true allies, not the French. The French...
You are as a baby squirrel, young and helpless. Where lies the difference between the English and the French? Neither belong here, yet both are here. The English dilly-dally and make great speeches. The French build forts and act. It is they who will win. Since I cannot live on my own land, I would do well to live on land owned by those friendly to me. Who wins the war shall own the land. The French will win.
Thus did the colonies find themselves in 1754. Johnson had resigned in protest over the shoddy treatment of the Indians, and the Indians had drifted away from the English and had fallen prey to the wiles of the French. Fortunately, by resigning, Johnson escaped the blame of neglecting them, and so was able once again, when the time arose, to show himself truly their brother, and at the same time to serve the English cause. For in 1754, the English government ordered a meeting in Albany of representatives of all the English colonies to...
The commissioners of the several colonies have come here to Albany at the invitation of His Majesty to consider measures of defense against common enemies, the French and the Indians of the North.
But, your lordship,
Yes, Colonel Johnson?
we cannot hold against the French if the Six Nations are our enemies. They are now separated and living apart from each other. I have met them in council at Onondaga, and I now bring before you Chief Hendrick of Canajoharie to speak for his people, the Mohawks.
You have asked us the reason of our living in this manner like leaves before the wind. The reason is that you have neglected us for these past 3 years. As I break a twig and throw it behind my back, so have you broken and disregarded us. Whereas the French are a subtle and a vigilant people, turning this way and that, with eyes ever on the trail, ever using their utmost endeavors each day to bring our people over to them. 'Tis your fault, brethren, that we would not fight for you. We would have, but you hindered us. You burned your own forts at Saratoga, which was a shame and a scandal to you. Look about your country and see. You have no fortifications around you, not even to this city. Look at the French. They are men. They are fortifying everywhere. But I am ashamed to say it, your villages are bare and open, with no fortifications. Hear now my brother, Abraham.
We lay this belt before our brethren and desire that Colonel Johnson may be reinstated and have the assignment of Indian affairs, for we were all happy while they were under his management, for we love him and he us, and he has always been our good and trusted friend.
The words of Hendrick and Abraham had a great effect upon the members of the Congress. Finally, they adopted Johnson's plan for an Indian policy. An Indian supply store was set up at Oswego, a far-reaching spy system was set up, and a fort was built at Onondaga. Throughout the wars with the French, the Mohawks remained friendly to the English, with Johnson working constantly to preserve good relations. By his wise counsel, a firm foundation was laid for development of English settlement and for the growth of the Empire State. Moreover, he established an example of dealing with natives on the basis of goodwill and understanding, honestly and fair dealing. And it is for this we remember him, as well as for his many brave deeds, which rank him as one of New York's great men. You have been listening to the story of William Johnson. This program was presented by the Junior Leagues of New York State in cooperation with the State Department of Education and was produced in the studios of WPTR, Albany, New York.